How to find retail sports cards at Target and Walmart here on Schultz's Card Pulls, as well as some tips you haven't heard anywhere else. Hey, what's going on, sports fans? Jordan from Schultz's Card Pulls here with a special video tips and tricks on how to find retail sports cards. That is right. It is a topic here in the sports card collecting world that absolutely everybody has been talking about. You kind of get sick of seeing the stores just feel like a mad rush as soon as the vendor's supposed to get there. I've just seen a ton of questions on my channel as well as others like Ollie Moon's, Jab's family, Phil's Polls even, about how to find retail sports cards. So I've compiled everything that I've learned from my successes and failures as well. It hasn't been 100 for 100 for me. Also, I'm going to give you some tips not heard anywhere else here on YouTube or any of the blowout card forums or anything about retail sports cards and how to find them. This is super cool. It's not clickbait. It's just a couple of ideas and things that have worked for me that I kind of have come up with. By the way, if you have not, smash that like button, subscribe to Schultz's Card Pulls. Let me know with a comment that you did both of those things. You'll be entered in all of the giveaways here on the channel. Got some Topps Chrome up for grabs coming up soon here on Schultz's Card Pulls. Really appreciate all the support that we've been getting on the channel.
You like me right now. You like me.
So other than your local hobby shop, you can find retail sports cards at other places like Walmart, Target, Meijer, Kmart, Rite Aid, CVS, Walgreens, basically any of your pharmacies, local and regional grocery stores. Like for me, we get a place called Fred Meyer that you've seen me go into that I got pretty lucky finding retail sports cards. Some other regional stores around the rest of the country, like Stop and Shop back from where my wife is from in Massachusetts, they have cards at their grocery stores. So really, you just got to kind of keep your eye out. Very important, these stores that we get all of these cards from, they are not stocked by the employees themselves. The retail sports cards are not. Basically, a vendor from a couple companies, Excel for Target and then MJ Holding for Walmart, come and they put all that stuff on the shelves. Unfortunately, you have to show up when the distributors are there. If you're even a couple of hours after the distributors have put all the new product on the shelf, you're going to be missing out on all the best stuff. And of course, the basketball cards, if you're not there right when the distributor's putting stuff up on the shelf, forget about it. You're not getting anything.
So you get nothing. You lose. Good day, sir.
Now, here are the tips. I got about 7 of these major tips for you on how to find retail sports cards. And the first one, you got to put in the initial legwork and research. The thing about it, as we're mentioning, the distributors that you really got to try and catch and show up immediately when they're there to catch any of the cards that you really want. To do that, it takes figuring out what their schedules are. And to do that, it's putting in research and basically showing up every day, Monday through Friday, on your way home from work or school. That's the only way that you're going to be able to figure it out. The key is finding when your local stores are visited by the Excel and MJ Holding distributor. You got to find that information out. The times and days, like I've been mentioning, are different everywhere, and for me, they change week to week. In some places, they don't, but since it's a random day of the week in most places, you've got to keep putting in the time into stopping at every store near you. Otherwise, you're never going to see the distributor unless you just get lucky as hell.
You've got to ask yourself one question. Do I feel lucky? Well, do you, punk?
Specific tip number 2. I've had more successes later in the week, Wednesday through Friday, at Targets and Walmart. Most of the time for Walmarts and Targets, I have seen a pretty consistent delivery schedule of Wednesday through Friday, and Targets are in the afternoons. Sometimes Tuesdays will happen, and I'll tell you why here in a second, but Wednesdays through Fridays, especially at Targets, seem to be better bets for when the retail sports card vendor will be there and when you can catch them. All right, specific tip number 3 on how to find retail sports cards. Employees rarely know when the baseball and basketball and football cards and hockey cards and everything else gets stocked. The customer service desk usually is no help either.
I don't understand. I made a reservation. Do you have my reservation?
Yes, we do. Unfortunately, we ran out of cars.
It's always best to talk to a manager. Tip number 4, do not even attempt to score retail sports cards on the weekend. Sure, go check the store while you're out there with your family or a significant other, or whatever, you're grabbing something. Check the card section, absolutely. I'm not discouraging that, but don't expect to find any retail, and don't schedule any retail hunts for Saturday or Sunday. If you're wanting to find cards on the weekend, your local card shop is going to be your best bet. Tip number 5, say after all of this legwork, Monday through Friday, you go to Targets, you go to Walmarts, you end up running into the distributor. Well, congrats. That's awesome. Definitely a win for sure.
Hell yes.
Let me know in the comments if you actually do that and you end up seeing a line of people waiting for sports cards, or it's just like a couple of people, or it's just you. Would be very interested to see in what parts of the country all the flippers are hanging out and what parts aren't. So congratulations, you found the local distributor. Now be nice. Treat them like a human, man. They're just doing their job. So what you got to do is be chill. Don't ask crazy, creepy questions.
Yes, excellent.
Don't start off with, hey, when are you going to this store? When are you going to this store next? Just ask them how their day's going. Tell them what you're doing there. If you have a YouTube channel, if you just like ripping sports cards, don't come out with the question about their schedule immediately. In fact, I wouldn't ask about their schedule straight up. That's just a bad idea. So make some conversation, be courteous, and remember that they are at work. I doubt you want somebody bugging you while you're doing your job, right? So remember, be cool, use those people skills, and I guarantee you it will go far. I've also figured out exactly what stores they plan to do later in that week because they feel comfortable telling me. So it's really good information to have, and I got that by being nice and by showing appreciation for what they were there doing and thanking them for putting up with me even asking a couple of questions about their day.
Thank you!
All right, tip number 6, use the empty shelves or what you see on the shelves as an indicator of when the distributor was there last. If you see new products on the shelf, you're seeing what they have left and most likely what has been left in the past 24 to 48 hours. Take a picture and reference it when you go back so you can see how long it's been since the distributor has been there. Maybe you can time it out to the day that they end up coming next week when you figure out the days that they don't show up. That's a good help as well. All right, and tip number 7, the final specific tip that I have about this. If you don't see stuff restocked on the shelves after a couple of weeks, then it is totally understandable to ask the manager of that store if there's anybody coming in soon, or if you guys just don't get sports card delivered to that store. Do not ask a regular associate or customer service. They're just not going to be able to help you.
I have a bad feeling about this.
And if you call and ask a manager. Just say, hi, can I please talk to a manager about baseball cards? I've talked to two myself over the phone. They were both awesome, and they were very nice, trying to be helpful and understanding that I just wanted to rip some cards once I told them I had a YouTube channel. So they were as helpful as they could be under the circumstances, and I found out that way that one of my Walmarts, the manager literally said there are 5 or 6 guys lined up every day when the distributor shows up to grab those sports cards right off the shelf. So it's annoying, but I at least got that information from calling my local manager at Walmart. Now I've got a couple exclusive tips from Schultz's Card Pulls on how to find retail sports cards. These are just a couple ideas that I've come up with that I have not heard anywhere else. Sports card distribution companies are the same ones distributing Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh! For instance, when I mentioned catching my distributor on a Tuesday, it was because she was there dropping off some huge Yu-Gi-Oh! Release, which I didn't really know much about before I got into the hobby, but now I've kind of started to go and check that release calendar because if they have a huge release for Pokemon or Yu-Gi-Oh! That week, I expect my distributor to be at my Target earlier in the week because that company wants to get those products out as quick as they can. This is also a huge tip not heard anywhere else about how to find retail sports cards. Ask around. It's pretty simple, but Have you ever heard the saying 6 degrees of separation? It's the theory that says we're all 6 people or less social connections away from each other. So that means someone you know or somebody that they know either works at Target or likely knows somebody that works at a Target or a Walmart. I know it's a bit of a nutty concept at first, but I managed to find out when the distributor came to a store about an hour away from me through an old friend, just asking around. It may not always work, but it's good to throw the feelers out there. You might be surprised that someone you know works at Target or Walmart. All right, and make sure when you're out there looking for retail sports cards, do not buy single packs of baseball, football, or basketball cards. Pack searchers absolutely suck, right? Buying single packs out of those gravity dispensers usually is a risky proposition. So make sure that you only buy boxes. That would be one of the best tips that I could pass on to you here on Schultz's Card Pulls. Only buy boxes because it is much harder to search those boxes and sit there and weigh those out than it is packs. Pack searchers do that all the time and they are rampant in this hobby. So be careful to protect yourself from them. Only buy boxes for retail sports cards. All right, the last tip before we get out of here, and thank you so much for watching. Please let me know with a comment what you think of these tips on how to find retail sports cards here on Schultz's Card Pulls. But there are some alternatives for finding retail sports cards out there. Obviously, you can pay the upcharges, eBay, StockX, Mercari. It's a terrible idea. It supports the flippers, and you shouldn't do it. There is one point when going onto the secondary market for retail sports cards is okay, and that is when the bubble bursts for some of the products and all that stuff that flippers hoarded right after it came out, and the price was initially huge, kind of immediately drops at some point because those flippers, they want that cash back. They set it aside into those boxes thinking they would get it back quickly. A lot of them haven't. Throw them an offer on eBay, 10, 15 bucks over what they paid and pay for shipping, and you can get a product close to what the retail price was. That would be a decent way to go about buying retail products on eBay or StockX or anything like that. So you can wait a bit for the retail bubble to burst, or a much better idea, at least in my opinion, go sit on Topps.com on release day. Topps drops all of those products, hobby boxes and retail products included, on their website at a random time to try and throw the bots and all those flippers off a little bit. So basically, you got to sit on Topps.com and you got to wait. You're going to have to be quick, and I would recommend getting an account set up with your address and a PayPal payment or a credit card payment already set up, so you have to click as few times as possible and wait all day on release day on Topps.com. And that is a decent way of getting some retail sports cards. And not only retail sports cards, but you can also score some hobby boxes for much less than they're going to be on eBay hours after all of that stuff sells out. All right, sports fans, that is all I have for retail sports cards tips and tricks and how to find them. Let me know if you have any questions on how to find retail sports cards that you didn't think I addressed or that have been burning in your mind. So make sure and leave a comment and let me know if there's something else that you want the answer to, and I will do my best to get that for you. Thanks for watching. Schultz's Card Pulls out.